Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki, Sean, and Brian are talking about movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 49, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend Brian Hall.
Hey, Zaki, what's going on?
Not much, my friend. And Sean Coyle is in Tibet right now, helping.
Freeing it.
He is freeing the country of Tibet. That's right.
Yeah.
So, but not from the clutches of a tyrannical regime. He's actually freeing it from the abominable snowman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's not good either. So.
They're both bad news.
Yeah.
So he's dealing with one before he deals with the other.
Yeah. And I made him promise me that when he confronts the abominable snowman, he turns around, he has to say, "Ice to see you." So.
But
he said he
I
would.
made him say, "Chill out."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or all you need is chill.
All you need is chill. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully he joins us eventually once the frostbite goes away.
Yeah.
But what's going on? What's new?
Well, I didn't tell you this before we started the show, but I saw a movie that we haven't put on the agenda.
Uh-huh.
I saw A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh, okay. So tell me about this. Tell me about your reaction to this. Did it mirror mine, or was I wrong?
You are not wrong. And I think it's important to start a conversation about this movie saying how I feel about Seth MacFarlane, because that entirely depends on how you feel about this movie. And I don't mind Seth MacFarlane. I understand that he has a face a lot of people want to punch. And, I get that. I do. But I don't. I don't want to punch it. I think Family Guy, I know everyone says it was better when it was, in its earlier run, and I don't disagree with that. But when it's on TBS, when they do the marathon Monday nights, if I'm not watching anything, the humor is like 50 jokes thrown at a wall and 25 will stick, and then it's over, So That's exactly what I was expecting out of this movie. And so leading up to it, a lot of people really hated this movie. And I was really surprised how bad the reviews were. You really didn't like it. And then I missed out. Some friends of mine went, and they thought it was fine. They're like, that's fine. So I was like, even though I know it's not going to be great, I feel like I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a Family Guy. I'm getting, 100 jokes at the wall, and a couple are going to stick. So I was like, I just want to sit and watch something to kind of enjoy and laugh, chuckle, even if it's just a chuckle. I just want to chuckle. Not a lot of chuckles in this movie, Zaki.
That's what I said.
About halfway through, I was surprised by how unfunny it was.
Exactly.
And it's not even that it's unfunny. It's just, it really feels like, I've heard that Adam Sandler says this. When he writes his scripts, he writes the story first. He writes a whole screenplay, and then he figures out where to put the jokes, and he inserts jokes in. And this felt like one of those drafts where he's like, okay, we're going to write a Western, and we'll stuff the jokes in later. Like, I kept waiting for the joke. And I was almost like, well, if you're just going to be sort of a Western, then all right, just be a Western. I could watch a Western,
Right.
But I went for the Family Guy-esque humor, and I didn't mind that throughout the movie he and all the other characters speak in very modern speak, like, oh, the West is like totally nuts, and like they don't try to speak like colloquialism. It's easier to write than it is to say.
You want to try that again there?
Colloquialism. No, I don't. I'm just embarrassed.
How you doing over there with the colloquialism?
But they speak modern speak, and I was like, that's fine. I don't care. That's what I paid to see. I want to see it. But I was just I'd say there's like maybe 3 or 4 chuckles in it, and I found that surprising. In spite of all the bad reviews, I was still expecting it not to be as flat as it was. So, flat as the Western terrain.
So what were some of the chuckles?
Well, I guess I'll be spoiling the 3 good jokes. Well, I can spoil one of them because the trailer spoiled it for us. But the whole Doc Brown reveal, my brother went and saw it, and he didn't know that was in there because he doesn't follow this stuff as closely as we do. Yeah. And he was like, "Did you know Doc?" He's like, "That was really funny." He's like, "I was the only one." I talked to everyone afterward, and I was the only one that didn't know it was coming, and he thought it was genuinely hilarious to be surprised by it. I was like, "Well, it would have been hilarious to be surprised.
I'm in the same boat as Dan, where I had no idea it was coming. So I was able to, yeah.
Yeah, that was a funny joke. And then there was another one where Seth MacFarlane has a song stuck in his head. He's like, I can't get this damn song out of my head. And Charlize Theron's like, well, think of another song. He's like, how? There's only 3 songs that exist.
Right.
And I was like, that's funny. Sure.
I thought the pictures.
Yeah.
But again, it's like I was telling you, right? Like if all they did was just leave it as like, oh look, I'm just looking at pictures, and they just left it as that.
Right.
But they kept like hitting you over the head with that same joke.
Right.
Where they're like, hey, look at this guy, he smiled because we don't smile in pictures. And he's smiling, and it's like,
yeah,
you're overselling it.
Yeah. And then there's just so many moments that you're like, oh, you just could have cut this entire thing out and we wouldn't have missed it. And a lot of he gets stoned in this movie like 4 times.
Right.
He just sits around a campfire, sits with Charlize Theron, does whatever, and then he's like, oh, hey, I can feel my bones. It's like, right. Are you seriously gonna do this again? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So,
it's I think the word is indulgent.
Yeah, pretty indulgent. Yeah. Now, it's too bad.
Now, as a contrast to sort of Seth MacFarlane's Family Guy, esque humor, certainly that we see on that show and his other shows. To me, I've after your prodding and Sean's prodding, I took the plunge with Bob's Burgers, and I feel like that's a marked contrast to the MacFarlane style humor.
Yes. It's very counter to the humor, really.
Yeah, well, I love the deadpan.
Yeah.
The delivery by is his name H. John Benjamin?
Right. Yep. Who plays Bob? He also plays Archer.
That's right, and Sean mentioned this in a previous episode where his delivery does not change.
No. But he feels like a completely different character. It's crazy.
It's really funny. But I mean, I've literally been laughing out loud at several episodes.
I'm really glad to hear that. I really do feel it's a very strong show, and like you were saying, it's humor right now is very much about like in your face and how much can we shock you, and that's fun sometimes. But
right.
It's nice that there's also other shows that go for the more grounded, sort of genuine laughs that are rooted in sort of like everyday life, finding the humor in everyday life, and that's definitely what Bob's is.
Yeah, I appreciate that about that.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
I was really happy to. No, just you texted me and said you were cracking up watching it. I was at work, so it made me happy to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys say I never listened to you. Well, here I am.
Prove me wrong, Zaki.
This is one time. This is literally one time, and that's all. That's all you get. I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
But regardless of that, now opening later this week, we're recording on Monday, the 16th of June, and opening this coming Friday is the new Clint Eastwood film Jersey Boys. And this is, of course, based on the very successful stage show, which has been running on Broadway, and it's been touring. And it's about the life and times of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And so Clint Eastwood took this stage musical and he turned it into a screen musical. And this is the first time he's made a musical as a film director. As an actor, of course, he was in Paint Your Wagon.
Paint Your Wagon, right.
Which I'm sure he would like to forget. I'm sure he would like to blot that out of his memory. But I had the opportunity to see the film, and I also had the chance to talk to its stars, 3 of the 4 Seasons. I talked with John Lloyd Young, who plays Frankie Valli. I talked to Michael Lomenda, who plays Nick Massey, and I talked to Eric Bergen, who plays Bob Gaudio, who was the writer of all the Four Seasons songs. Now, you've heard the songs of Four Seasons, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when I watched this movie, I have not seen the musical. When I watched the movie, I didn't realize just how many of these songs I know and that everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's really astounding to me that so many of these songs are just like part of our cultural fabric, just kind of in our DNA.
Yeah.
So of course, after I watched the movie, I ended up just downloading the album, and it's been on rotation ever since. the film itself, it's a little bit TV movie-ish, I would say.
Sure.
And I don't say that necessarily as a bad thing. I think it's one of those. It feels like something you would watch on TV, but that would be like, oh, I want to see what happens next, even though it follows a format that you're pretty much familiar with.
Yeah.
So I don't think. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I saw a trailer for it, and it felt very Scorsese-esque, is what I'm trying to say. I'm having a hard time speaking tonight. It felt very like the trailer was made to feel very Scorsese-esque. Is that just clever marketing, or does the film actually sort of have that kind of immediate cinematic kind of whiplash thing?
No, I think there's aspects of it, but it's still very much a Clint Eastwood movie.
Sure.
So it doesn't divert too much from sort of his standard filmmaking style.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Scorsese-esque aspect is the device of characters sort of talking to the camera.
Sure.
Well, that's more of a Spike Lee thing, I guess. But
or sounding like street toughs and be like, "Hey, Brooklyn." It was like, "Hey."
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think were the characters to narrate it, it would have been like something out of Goodfellas, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think just by virtue of the fact that it's set in New Jersey and you have these kind of Italian American kids growing up. I mean, it gives that impression. Very much a traditional Clint Eastwood movie, and I would say I don't think the film itself is groundbreaking, but I think it's engaging for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly for me, like it's imagery, and the songs definitely stayed with me after I saw it. But as I said,
oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When you say it's a musical, is it a musical in that we stop and watch them do their numbers? On stage, or is it actually incorporated into the story, like the music? You know what I mean?
It's not Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, it isn't that. It's the music. It's we see them performing. So it's like, oh, and here they are at this bar, and now here they are at on the Ed Sullivan Show, and here they are at Radio City Music Hall. It's not. There's the only time like we break the film environment and become a musical per se is at the very end,
mm-hmm.
like during the credits, and it's almost like just an homage to the stage play.
I see.
So I mean, honestly it feels disingenuous to call the movie a musical, because I don't know that it's a traditional musical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by that logic, Rocky IV is a musical.
Sure.
I don't know that it follows the structure of the play though, so that's something.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I had a chance to talk to these actors who I had a great conversation with, really really engaging group, and I think you'll enjoy listening to that conversation too. So why don't we go ahead and play that?
I actually did one ADR thing on my phone for the movie.
For the movie?
Wow. And they used it until the very last thing because they were trying to just keep that version because it was so fine they didn't need to, and then finally like, you know what, the room tone's a little off.
Well, I remember a story about
The future is now.
Remember Daniel Stern, the guy who did the voiceovers for Wonder Years?
Yeah.
I remember reading an article when I was a kid that he would have to sometimes record his voiceovers in a hotel room and put a sock over the mic, like for the screen.
Huh. And Daniel Stern was, of course, one of the wet bandits too, in Home Alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, with Joe Pesci, who's in Jersey Boys as a real-life character.
There you go.
Here we go. We're ready to start.
Right.
Ready to start the interview.
So how are you guys doing? How's the tour going? Good.
This is it. This is the last stop today.
Yeah, apropos. Because, so I was thinking as I was parking, you guys are living what your characters were living in the film.
Better hotel accommodations.
Yeah,
and except we don't. Warner Brothers is paying for our rooms. We're not paying off $1 million of debt to the mob.
Right. But yes, we are, and we are sort of going out and telling this story now and living that a little bit. And Michael and I were actually on tour with Jersey Boys, the stage version. I opened the tour here, and he closed the tour here in San Fran.
Wow.
So we've all lived versions of the art that we're imitating in various degrees. Yeah.
So you guys all did the stage tour. You did not do it at the same time.
No, we knew of each other. My first introduction to Jersey Boys was seeing John Lloyd on the Tonys, winning his Tony Award, and seeing their performance on the Tonys. So
I never did the tour. I did the Broadway production.
You did the Broadway version, and you the last time you did it was 5 years ago, I believe.
Well, I did the first 2 years, and
Okay.
then after several years away, I was asked back to do it, and that's when, and so I did for a few months, in the end of 2012, beginning 2013, and that's when Clint came and saw it.
Okay.
And then I just did it again in London after we wrapped the movie. They asked me to do 6 weeks in London.
Wow. So now when you were doing it the first time, did it even enter onto your radar that you would be starring in the film version, or was that just something that was a conceptual? It wasn't something that.
I say yes, not out of any sort of like retroactive presumptuousness or arrogance or anything. I say yes only because when the show was becoming a big hit on Broadway, Hollywood started to really try to compete for the rights to it, so much to an extent that I was a neophyte actor making his Broadway debut, and I was at the opening of the Hollywood film opening in New York, and one of the major studio heads came up to me at a party and cornered me and said, "You have to convince one of our writers, Marshall Brickman, to give us the film rights." So yes, right in the beginning I thought, wow, they're all over this movie, and this cast, we could end up in it, but then that didn't happen. And
Right.
it grew to this international hit over several years. No one really got the movie that early on. Something happened. I think probably Bob Gaudio and Frankie Valli, who are now executive producers, were holding out for some more involvement or something. So it was several years later that finally in 2010 that Graham King, who was our originating producer, won the rights in a bidding war, and then it started to ramp up to the point that by the time I was back on Broadway and Clint was attached,
Yeah.
it was, he was able to see me. He saw Michael, who was on tour, and Eric Bergen just has a reputation for being the best Bob Gaudio,
Amongst other things.
according to the real Bob Gaudio. So when Clint was casting, and Clint told me this on set, that he asked Bob Gaudio, who's the most like you, and Bob said Eric Bergen.
Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, it is. It's also one of those things where, I mean, thank God he said that, because I wasn't seen by Clint and the producers. I mean, I was no longer in the show, and I think you ask any actor, did you ever think blah blah blah?
Right.
And they can sit back and say, like, well, I always felt, but I think as actors, we all go through that back and forth of yes and no every day, right? We sit there and we go after a job that we want. When they started auditioning for this movie, I said to my agents, well, how do we just make sure that I'm really seen, and how do we campaign for this, and like, how do we do it? But if I hadn't got the job, if it had gone to someone else, they would be saying the same thing, and I would be sitting back going, like, well, I'm very happy with my next thing, and somebody else. So you sort of make light of whatever happens to you. But
Aren't you glad we don't have to be saying, aren't you glad we don't have to see someone else play these roles that we love so much?
Yeah.
Someone else do them?
Correct.
I'm so relieved.
And by the way, I saw great actors play my role.
Yeah.
Who would have been wonderful. I was picked to do it. But I don't know. I just know that, yes, I wanted it. Yes, I thought I really have a shot at this. Yes, I think I'm the best person for the role. But did I ever think it would actually happen, like really actually happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to say, yeah, I always felt, but I don't know. I don't really know.
Even having won a Tony Award for the original production, and being on the cast album of the original production, presuming that you would get the role, period, feels almost just like you'll jinx yourself.
Right.
I even thought, who am I to decide who this studio is going to choose? I just hope that whoever they choose is not really bad.
Right.
So that I don't have to spend the rest of my life looking at this legacy that I started with an original cast and say, God, if only they had let me play it, I could have shown them this or this or this, and instead they
Yeah.
made a mistake. You know, I'm happy that I don't have to know what that feels
We're
like.
glad not to be in the position of Carol Channing when they remade Hello Dolly into a
Or
film
how
with
about
Barbra
the most
Streisand.
famous one ever, Julie Andrews with My
Right.
Fair Lady.
Right.
Right, but you know what Carol says about Hello Dolly? You say, what do you think about the movie of Hello Dolly? And she goes, is there a movie? I didn't know there was a movie about it. So I'm glad we don't have to.
You don't have to
say
get that line out.
No, not so much.
Yeah.
She ended up doing fine for herself because
Yeah.
then she got an Oscar nomination for Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Yeah. She's
And
okay.
Julie Andrews then won an Oscar for Sound of Music. So it worked out
Everyone, yeah,
all right for them.
that's right. And there are people who didn't get these parts that
Sure.
go to the next. I mean, it's one of those things where at the end of the day, it is a job and it's a career-making job.
Sure.
And we love it. But we're all ready to do whatever comes next.
Yeah.
You know what's even more rare? An actor of the tens of thousands of actors who are professional actors who hold union cards, so they're professional actors. Of the tens of thousands of actors that are out there are only a few dozen of us who get to say that we played lead roles for Clint Eastwood.
Right.
And it doesn't even really matter that it was Jersey Boys. It's just that's its own thing.
Yeah. Well, that was actually my next question, and really it's for all three of you. But John and Michael, you guys, you knew Clint Eastwood was in the audience watching you. What was the immediate emotion that you feel at that moment?
I refuse to believe that was actually happening. It wasn't until I saw a picture of that one of our swings sent that he had taken in the lobby with Mr. Eastwood that I sort of had to realize it was true. And frankly, the movie was really off my radar. I thought it had already been cast. I thought that he was just there brushing up before he started shooting. And so I met him backstage, obviously thrilled to meet a legendary icon. But I shook hands, and I didn't expect to get a call a couple weeks later to audition. And I'm a Canadian with limited to no film or TV experience. And so, honestly, this is literally just the most crazy thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. So, and then to get that call saying that I was going to be working with Mr. Eastwood was just mind-blowing in every way. And to be honest with you, ever since that call, every single sort of experience with this whole movie has been that way for me. It's just far beyond anything I could have fathomed. So I'm just grateful for it all.
Wow.
When Clint got attached, through the years, so after originating the Broadway production and winning awards and watching it over the years become a hit all across the English-speaking world, hearing of the movie here and there over the years, my emotions would go up and down because no matter what, first of all, it's a privilege for any actor to become well associated with a role or be starring in a hit show or whatever, when before you were just a struggling actor like everybody else, right? Suddenly you're well known. Well, then you start to realize you have a legacy in something, and it starts to grow all over the world, and it's a strange feeling to see it come together and change in ways, and then to know that you have no control over what happens with the movie, and yet in my case, I wanted to kind of make my legacy permanent somehow, do the role if I could. But I had to spend a lot of years as the movie was coming up and then it was going down, as that there were people going to make it and then it wasn't going to be made. After a while, I became used to the idea that I have no control, and I know that it's going to be awkward to have to see someone else go and to give the baton to someone else and watch them play this role for posterity. But there came to a point where I accepted that possibility, and I was very calm about it. It took a while, but I got there. It was by the time that Clint was attached, I got to that point where I just felt the equanimity.
Sure.
And so when I found out Clint was in the audience, I knew, well, this is what's going to either get me the part or not. I have no control over it. I know I'm good in this role on stage. I've seen audiences react to my performance on stage for at that point, about 1,200 times. And I'm just really joyful. I felt just joyful that this guy who's got dominion in Hollywood and clearly has, is a leader in his territory, was seeing me in the one thing in my life so far that I had where I knew was my territory. It was that playing Frankie Valli on stage on Broadway. And I felt, this is great. This is whatever happens will happen, but how wonderful to show Clint Eastwood how at home I am in this role for today, for this 2-hour performance.
And Eric, what's your Clint Eastwood story? What did?
Every time you say it, it's always like, why are you asking me? Right. He was. It's still a lot to get used to. It's very. I think what I will always take from working with Clint is that he let us be us. I didn't know what to think. I never thought I would be in a Clint Eastwood movie. That just wasn't. I always loved Clint Eastwood films.
It's not something most people think.
No, it wasn't even. And I also wasn't one of those actors. Like I remember when I was in college for acting. Every guy wanted to be Marlon Brando, and every guy wanted to do these gritty, masculine things. It's like that's just not my speed. I just came from a different world. So as much as I loved Clint Eastwood films, it wasn't on my bucket list. So I knew nothing. I truly knew nothing about going to work with him, other than his finished products. Mm-hmm. Working with him, I was so thrilled to find out, first of all, just how much fun he is, but what I will always take away is the confidence he instilled in me. Because I walked on that set with the mindset of, how do I please the director? What he gave back to us was, you don't have to worry about pleasing me. We're all making a movie here together. And the reason why he hired us, specifically the three of us, but even including Vincent, is what we did either in the audition room or what he saw us do on stage. That's why we got the job. So for us to all of a sudden do something different now made no sense. And to instill in us the confidence to just continue doing what we had always done, that's something that I've never had any director give me before. I'm so used to being micromanaged.
You're good enough. Right. That's the thing. You're not only good enough, but you're the best one, and I chose you. Being chosen by Clint Eastwood when he can have any actor he wants in the world in his films, and he chose unknowns, because he liked our performances. How can you not rise to the occasion?
Yeah. That's definitely what I will take away, and I know that. I was talking to Mike Doyle, who plays Bob Crew in this film, right. And Mike's one of these guys that you might not know his name, but he's been in everything.
Yeah,
he's that guy from that
Everyone
thing.
Knows
yeah,
his
exactly.
Face, yeah.
And I asked him one day on set. We were sitting in the back of one of those golf carts on set, and I said to him, "All right, what is your greatest experience of all the things you've ever done? What was the best film or show or whatever?" And he said, "This." I said, "You can't be serious. Really? After all of everything, what we're doing right now is your greatest?" And he said, because I think I forget who of us, there were a couple of us in the car, and he said, "You guys don't know what you're doing. You have no clue how important this is. You have no clue how good this is. You are spoiled rotten with this, and it is all downhill from here."
Well, hopefully not.
No, I mean he didn't mean that literally, but in the sense that
it's a pretty good entree into everything.
If this guy who's been in everything is telling me that just from his experience on this film that this is the best, most fun experience he's ever had, then I don't know if we'll ever be able to fully take in what we've done until maybe years from now.
I have friends from the South who have expression that I think are very charming. We fell into the honey pot.
Nice. That's a perfect place to wrap it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So there we go.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I like everything Clint Eastwood's been putting out for the past several years. So.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I saw Clint Eastwood was in that god awful baseball movie.
Well, I didn't see that, so that's why I can say what I
Yeah,
just
so
said.
you dodged. But remember, he didn't direct that movie, so I give him a pass on that. He
Trouble with the Curve, right?
Trouble with the Curve, yeah, and that movie was unfortunate. So it but I mean, it really again they show it on TV every now and then, and although I don't have cable anymore, so
I was gonna, when you said that, I was gonna say how's that going?
I love not having cable.
Man, I'm so almost there with you, and I really feel like I could give it up. And then last night I logged into HBO Go to watch the season finale of Game of Thrones, and I was like,
well, the season's over. Now's the time.
That's true.
Right.
Could give it up for a year.
Yeah. See, I mean, you know what I found? I mean, me of all people, not having TV, if I can get rid of it, I think anybody can.
That's true.
I mean, again, it's I still watch TV. I've got my Netflix, I've got my Hulu and stuff, so I'm not missing out. But as far as having broadcast, or cable at least. I haven't. I don't need it.
Right.
And it's some. This is the problem with being an adult, right? Where you have to make those decisions of like, well, we either pay the cable bill or we pay the water bill.
Right. Right.
You didn't have to worry about that when you were a kid.
Yeah. Well, we weren't planning on going off on this, but it kind of makes sense. Like if you want to buy a season of television off of iTunes, and it's like $22 or $24, it's like, okay, well, you got the thing you were paying $100+ a month for, you just got for $20.
Exactly.
So it kind of saves money in the end.
Or you wait a little bit until it's free on Netflix or streaming on Netflix, and it's included in your subscription.
Right. Which leads us to our sponsor this week, Time Warner Cable. Time Warner Cable. I hate those guys. All right. Moving on.
All right, so let's talk up some headlines here. Now we've been talking superhero movies. It's kind of it's weird because we're not really like a geek podcast per se,
but we're a podcast run by geeks.
Exactly. So it has geekish tendencies, right? But the big news that was just announced over the weekend is that Aquaman is going to be in Superman or Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Everybody's going to be there.
Everybody's going to be in it, but Aquaman will be played by Jason Momoa. Yeah. And he, of course, is he played Conan in that movie that literally I am the only one who saw in the theater. But he's also Khal Drogo on Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
So I heard this news and I said, that is awesome casting. I love that casting.
I would have never thought of it, but yeah, that's cool.
Well, because, when you think about it, Aquaman is thought of as such a joke.
Right.
So you need a complete and utter hard ass to play Aquaman.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, and it makes you think that's going to be the tone of this movie. There's going to be a guy who speaks to fish. This isn't going to be Nolan's Batman. I don't say that in a bad way, but it's just this is going to be a big tonal shift. So that will be really interesting what that looks like.
Nolan would not have had somebody who speaks to fish in his movies. Yeah.
Or it would have totally made sense if he had.
There would have been like a science fact reason.
Yeah.
For the way that happens. Yeah. Now, and my understanding is that this is not going to be a major role. It's just kind of like in there just to set up the next. And this relates to supposedly the Nikki Fink, who you know Nikki Fink, right?
I'm familiar with her work.
Now this is a woman who has much of Hollywood like cowering in fear.
Yeah. Well, let's set her up here. She's a journalist she started Deadline.com, and she was known for there's like one existing picture of her. Like nobody really knows who she is. And she just gets the scoops. Like she gets not just there's going to be a Batman movie coming out and then, we hear word of it tomorrow. Like she gets the scoops before anybody in Hollywood wants you to hear about it. Like she doesn't care. She throws it all out there. So that's how she made her name for herself.
Right.
And built up Deadline into what it was. And then Deadline became kind of corporate and essentially kind of kicked her out.
So, well, I read her like non-headline stuff, and she sounds just crazy pants to me.
Oh yeah. She's not someone you're going to want to hang out with.
Right. Yeah. It's a very delicate way of putting it, but yeah. So regardless, yeah. So she angrily broke up with Deadline.com because who knows why? A lot of inside baseball stuff. But so she started her own website, and one of her first scoops was the supposed schedule that Warner Brothers has in play, or in mind, I should say, for their DC Comics movies to compete with Marvel Studios and their lineup of Avengers related flicks, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just to give people a heads up, so we've got Batman v Superman in May of 2016. Okay. We've got Shazam, which is about Gomer Pyle, I believe. That's the Gomer Pyle movie. Shazam Pyle. That's going to be July of 2016.
So that's coming up quick.
So that needs to be filming. Well, no, I guess
start next year, but still, that's. I mean, does Shazam? The only reason I know who Shazam is because I had a little golden book of Shazam actually when I was a kid. That's it.
That's hilarious.
So that's really interesting.
And then we have The Sandman, Christmas of 2016. So we have 3 DC Comics movies in 2016.
Yo.
And The Sandman is Joseph Gordon-Levitt is involved in some capacity. I don't know if he's starring in it, but he's going to produce it at least.
Yeah, that's kind of a darker.
Yeah, that's not really a superhero story. That's kind
of like Crow or something, right?
Well, he kind of
Not
looks
exactly
like
in story, but in tone, just kind of a darker edge.
a darker story. Yeah. And then we have Justice League in May 2017. We have Wonder Woman in July of 2017.
Wonder Woman.
Thank you. I hope that's the theme. And
Get
then
Aaron Neville to do it.
What was that?
Get Aaron Neville to do it. Wonder Woman.
I would love that. I would love the Aaron Neville cover of the Wonder Woman theme. And then we have a Flash Green Lantern team-up movie, and that's Christmas of 2017.
That's interesting.
And then, yeah, that is interesting. And I'm wondering if because we've got the Flash TV series coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, will it be the same Flash, a different Flash? Will it be a flashier Flash? Will it be a Flash who is flashing?
I hope not.
Yeah.
Or it'd be really quick, so we wouldn't even know. And then Aaron Neville would be like, Flash.
It's a wrong Flash. Wrong Flash.
Oh, sorry.
And then we have Man of Steel 2, supposedly set for May 2018.
So most people were saying, "Oh, Batman v Superman," the Superman sequel. So it wasn't the Superman sequel. Superman sequel is coming when our kids are in high school.
Your kids who are not even born yet.
Yes.
That's yeah. So I have no thoughts on this. Although I will say the one element of credibility added to this is that Christian Bale, Kevin Smith, not even remotely similar to Christian Bale. I don't know why I would confuse the two at all, but that's very odd. Kevin Smith was on his show Hollywood Babylon. They discussed this, and he confirmed this. He said he had seen this list, and because he has connections with obviously with Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder and whatnot. He said he had seen this list a few months ago, and when he saw the Nikki Fink list, he was basically like, "Yeah, that's what I saw as well."
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the dates are not set in stone, but we get a general sense of what their plans are. Now, my question to you, Brian, is: do you find this list exciting or overwhelming?
I think I don't even really have an opinion because I'll be honest, I can't say I'm looking forward to a Shazam movie, and I can't say I'm looking forward to a Green Lantern movie necessarily, but I'm not pessimistic about it. I'm not just like
another Green Lantern movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. These aren't things that I'm anticipating.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that they kind of get their brand together and put together, lay these all out and make a whole slew of movies that I can get excited about. But we don't know that yet. We haven't necessarily gotten our Iron Man for what DC is trying to do here. I don't know what their plan is. So if Batman v Superman turns out to be something that's exciting in a universe that I'm like, oh, I want to go back to this, then yeah. But you I guess more closely to what you asked, yeah, that does seem like a lot pretty quick.
Well, and this is the question. I mean, we keep people ask me all the time, like, oh, are we gonna hit superhero fatigue, right? And my answer is always the same. That if the quality is there, there's nothing to get fatigued about. I read an article talking about how they'd signed the director of Sinister to make Doctor Strange.
Right.
And Scott Derrickson. I have not seen Sinister, so I can't speak to whether he's a good director or not.
Yeah, I know people really like him. I'm not a big horror guy, so I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but I hear that he makes quality, scary stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be fine, right? And I mean, Marvel has a pretty good track record with that. I mean, we've been talking about the Ant-Man thing, and it's worth mentioning that Peyton Reed,
right,
is the director who they found for Ant-Man, and that kind of interesting. Peyton Reed directed a movie that I really liked called Down with Love a few years ago.
I never saw that.
I enjoyed that. That has Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger. He also directed the first Bring It On, which I also like.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because back in the early 2000s, he was attached to the Fantastic Four.
Ah, okay.
And he had a different version of that in mind where it would have been a period film, and obviously that didn't happen. But as the whole Ant-Man thing was going on, for some reason, Peyton Reed's name popped into my head, and I was like, they should get him involved somehow. And then literally like 2 days later, it was like, oh yeah, Peyton Reed is one of the finalists. And then they signed him. So I was like, wow.
Yeah.
My powers are amazing.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Well, a lot of people were turning it down. And, he made that movie Yes Man. And I was like, I wonder if that stuck with him, Because everybody was turning down Ant-Man. Right?
Well, I think... I think people were turning it down for the same reason we were talking about. I mean, it's damaged goods,
right?
And maybe I don't know this for certain, but to show some degree of solidarity with Edgar Wright,
possibly.
But I feel what I noted when the deal was signed, because we've got Peyton Reed directing and Adam McKay is actually doing the rewrite on the script,
which is cool.
And that's kind of intriguing to me. What I said was that this is probably the best case scenario, considering the worst case scenario has already happened.
Right.
So we've already given what's left after the nuclear bomb went off. This amount of the land is repopulatable. That's kind of where we're at now with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But with Scott Derrickson doing Doctor Strange, the question is like, oh, Doctor Strange, does anyone care about Doctor Strange? And it's like, well, does anyone care about any of these characters until we're made to care about them, right? Nobody cared about Iron Man until Robert Downey made people care.
Right.
So I think that's the whole genre,
Totally.
Now that being said, it's worth mentioning that per the rumors anyway, Spider-Man 3 has been delayed from what was going to be, I think, a 2016 release date to now an indeterminate point.
Yeah, sometime in 2017. So, speaking of making lists 10 years into the future,
right,
and then locking those dates down, sometimes things don't work out like you expect them to, and a lot of people wouldn't move or budge from those dates, and they'll just put out whatever they're going to put out. But at least Sony is seeing that something isn't working like they'd like with The Amazing Spider-Man, so they're going to attempt to tinker a little bit. So
now here's my... Do you think that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a victim of expectations more than actual content?
For, like, audience expectation?
Studio expectations.
Oh. Yes and no. I think yes, because
the head of the studio was like, "Oh, we expect it to make $1 billion."
Right, but that's just it. That's what superhero movies make now. They make $1 billion or just under $1 billion. So she's like, "I've got a superhero movie." So whatever it is, I have superhero films going to make $1 billion. But the thing is, Spider-Man just isn't. The stories aren't doing anything to make me feel like I have to come back. I'll be honest, this show was one of the main reasons I even watched it at all. I doubt I would have seen it, honestly.
And you liked it for what it was.
It was perfectly all right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. But there's nothing like Captain America, which I know is sort of a unique case because, in my opinion, it's maybe the second best of the Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. It's one of those ones when you walk out and you're like, man, that was good. Like, I have to watch that again. And my friend who hasn't seen it, I got to take him next time because he's got to see this. But I doubt anyone felt that way about Spider-Man.
That's true. It was just like, well, it's another Spider-Man. Let's go see it.
Yeah, and there was like some cool stuff in it that I remember a couple images, a couple sequences, but otherwise there was just nothing to write home about.
Right.
And I don't know. It seemed like they tried to do something a little bit different with it that I can't even put into words necessarily. It's like they almost wanted to make it much more complicated than it was, having this whole conspiracy with his parents, and they thought we would care about this mythology they're concocting, and it it just didn't land.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder then so they're going to take a year off to fix this. Like, what do you fix?
Right.
With what you have. I mean, you're not going to reboot it. Andrew Garfield is a perfectly fine Peter Parker, so you got the right ingredients, but how do you change the recipe?
Well, and then I mean, obviously with all their spin-off plans, I wonder how that affects everything, right? Because they've got Drew Goddard signed to direct the Sinister Six.
Sure.
And then Alex Kurtzman is directing Venom.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, Alex Kurtzman, his longtime former partner, Bob Orsi, is directing Star Trek 3.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that, have we?
No, we didn't. So that's a it's interesting to see all these. It's almost like the next generation of directors has come up through the. We've seen them come up.
Yeah.
Like from the writer ranks, all these guys, like Drew Goddard's a writer, and Kurtzman, Orsi, a lot of these guys who are now like branching out into directing now.
Well, it's interesting because when Transcendence came out and just absolutely died.
Oh my gosh!
They were saying, well, they were like, that's what happens when you give $100 million movie to a first-time director.
Right.
Which I don't think is entirely true, but I understand what they mean. And so, I think that was coming up a little bit here too with Orsi. It's like this guy's never directed anything, and now you're going to hand him probably almost like a $200 million movie. So
right. Well, but I mean, and the way I see that, I mean, he's still sort of nestled in the womb of the Bad Robot.
Sure.
Assembly line, right? Because I mean, I'm assuming even though J.J. Abrams isn't directing, he's still going to be involved in some capacity, right? Yeah,
I'm sure.
So I'm sure you just have to go down the hall to J.J.'s office.
Well, but Christopher Nolan produced Transcendence, right?
Touche. Very true. Yeah, Wally Pfister. Unfortunately, his first time out wasn't so great, but hopefully, something better happens next time.
Yeah.
Now, you had sent me a list. I thought this was pretty interesting of the most bankable film actors.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that's worth mentioning because there's always the question of like what gets people to show up to movies.
Right.
And I always ask my students this, is there any one actor who you're like, I want to go see the new movie starring X, whoever that person is, and most of them say no.
Yeah.
And that to me is a contrast with the way it was when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, oh, we got to go see the new Schwarzenegger movie. Oh, it's the new Stallone movie.
Yep.
So now, first of all, tell me about this list. First of all.
Well, I guess they were just. It says there was a mathematician, and he's got this company, and they analyzed a lot of different factors into this. But basically, they came up with a list of 3 actors and an unnamed actress, which I'm not sure why they didn't name her, that they mathematically have proven to show that if they're in a film, that will benefit its box office.
Okay.
But what's interesting about this is, well, the 3 people are Johnny Depp, Will Smith, and Brad Pitt. And what I thought was interesting was the last 2 Johnny Depp films were Transcendence and The Lone Ranger, which were, undeniable flops. And then Will Smith's last 2 movies were, Men in Black 3 and After Earth.
Yeah.
So it's just the 2 of the 3 proven names.
Well, but Men in Black 3 did okay, right? I mean, that wasn't a flop.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe not. I'll be honest. I don't know exactly what the number is, but it certainly didn't make a dent culturally.
Well, okay, that's a fair. Let me look up the budget here. I mean, well, okay. So MIB 3 cost $215 million. It made $624
worldwide.
So I'd say budget-wise, it probably did okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certain that's below expectations from the studio.
Well, let me see how much the second one made. But go on.
Yes. Well, anyway, so it's interesting because these are the three people you're supposed to be able to count on, and then two of them you have not been able to count on them necessarily for the past two. And I'm not putting these guys down. I'm just saying it's just sort of the new Hollywood.
Well, I think that Will Smith. I think. Oh, so by the way, MIB2 cost $140 million and it made $440 million. So
yeah,
I guess in terms of cost benefit, it's probably about the same then once you factor in inflation. But regardless, I think that Will Smith, it's less about him. People want to see him, but they want to see him. Right. So that's why After Earth didn't land.
Yeah, it's a good point. And then he had that movie 7 Pounds. I think that was like the first one of his movies that didn't really land in a while after a string of hits. And that, like you said, that's him being sort of dour. Right. Yeah.
I mean, we like fun Will Smith.
Right.
You know, and then you know he has that new the Annie remake that he produced.
Yeah. But he's not in it, right?
He's not in it, but it was supposed to star Willow.
Right.
Smith,
not Warwick Davis. You're talking about his Will Smith's daughter.
I would want to see Annie with Warwick Davis in it.
I would too.
But it was supposed to star his daughter, and she actually was like, "I don't want to do it."
Really?
But I mean, I think
it's a hard knock life being a Smith, turning down a big Hollywood.
Yeah. It's tough, but I think part of it is the public is fed up with like being forced to love his children.
I wonder, because I mean, I know people like us say that and the sites we visit and all that, but I wonder, does America really give a crap? I have no idea.
I am willing to wager that Jaden Smith engenders active dislike among the vast majority of Americans.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say.
Yeah.
Look, man, I see pictures of that kid and I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, he has a very Seth MacFarlane-y face.
He has a punch-worthy face.
He has a punch-worthy
You know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So, hold on. We've talked about those two, but what about Brad Pitt? You know, because Brad Pitt used to be kind of my guy. You know, like in the early 2000s, he was in like Fight Club, he's in Snatch, and he's in all these movies. It's like, man, Brad Pitt's in that movie. Like, I'm gonna go see that movie. I don't know, like, what I can't think of like Brad Pitt movies. Like, I mean, he was in 12 Years a Slave in like a glorified cameo, but he was
but he produced that, right?
Produced it, yeah. What was the
World War Z?
World War Z. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, good point. Good point.
I would say Brad Pitt made World War Z more watchable.
Legitimate.
Yeah, well, for sure, legitimate, but also, he's an engaging presence.
Yeah, and then I was Inglourious Bastards was the one I was thinking.
Inglourious Bastards. I mean, I think that the math isn't really, it doesn't stand up to scrutiny in the sense that I don't think there's a true movie star in the sense that any actor, and certainly no actresses, but I don't think any actor even represents a guarantee.
No.
Not the way it used to be.
No.
You know, I mean, and you know, we were just using Schwarzenegger as an example. I mean, there was a time when Schwarzenegger being in a movie was done deal.
Right.
Automatic green light, automatic global hit.
Yeah.
And that's like hilarious. There was a time when Kevin Costner was an automatic green light.
Yeah.
Which is also hilarious. You know.
Speaking of Schwarzenegger, I was at some friend's house. And we were playing cards, and we just had HBO on in the background, and Predator was on.
Mm-hmm.
And we kept stopping our game and watching it. You know, and then this one guy around the table was like, man, this movie's so good. He said that like several times, and I was like, man, it's funny, you know, like that movie does hold up. You know, a lot of those.
I think it holds up better than many of Schwarzenegger's other movies from that era.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, for as much as I like The Running Man, it's a very dated film.
Sure.
Or Raw Deal or Red Heat, or, you know, a lot of these, like, they're very much of their era. I think Predator transcends the era.
Totally. Totally agree.
I mean, you know, I mean, it's hard to. I would argue that other than like Terminator, Predator has probably held up the most in terms of sort of like having some cultural currency.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like all the other. I mean, I'd have to think, but I can't think of any other Schwarzenegger movies that have really had the reach,
right,
of those. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, in terms of actors today, obviously Tom Cruise is like one of the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Or in theory, right? You know, we did an episode maybe a year ago, which you missed, but Paul Shirey was on, and we were talking about how Tom Cruise is, globally speaking, one of the most sure-thing actors.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, you know, he's been having a tough go of it with Oblivion kind of underperformed domestically. Edge of Tomorrow not doing so well.
Yeah.
Now, you did see that, right?
I did.
Well, so I want to talk about that, but let's hold off on that and talk about that with on the other side of the spoiler wall. And before we do that, let's talk about some new trailers for some films. First up, here's a movie I've been wanting to discuss with you: is The Equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is based on the TV series from the 80s.
Right. Which, from previous episodes, we learned that I'm not very familiar with.
Yes. Well, all you need to know is it stars the TV show starred Edward Woodward, quintessentially British white guy, as a former MI6 operative who decides to use his particular skill set to help the downtrodden people in New York. So, of course, they took that premise and turned it into a movie starring Denzel Washington as a quintessentially American black guy.
Okay.
Who presumably was not part of MI6. But he does equalize.
Okay.
So from what I see in the trailer, one has nothing to do with the other. Why don't we play some of the audio from that first?
You didn't take out 5 pimps. You took out the East Coast hub of the Russian mafia.
A man with his skill. I want to know who he really is.
He won't stop until he kills you and anyone you care about.
Okay, so what do you think of the trailer, first of all?
I think it looks... I didn't see it. I saw the first trailer, but I admitted to Zaki that I had not seen the second trailer. I told him what I remembered from the first trailer was a calm, in demeanor Denzel Washington sitting with his legs crossed in a chair with a gun on his lap that he was probably about to use on a person.
Yeah.
And I assumed the second trailer was similar in tone.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically Denzel's Taken.
Yeah.
Although I thought that Man on Fire was Denzel's Taken.
Just going to say, yeah. 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 All I remember about that movie is that he puts a bomb up a guy's butt.
Taken was Liam Neeson's Man on Fire.
There you go. Yeah.
And this is Denzel's Taken. So this is like a Xerox of a Xerox at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, Denzel movies are Denzel movies. Like, if you watch them, you know what you're going to get. And if you like that, you're going to like it. And I do tend to like them, but I don't feel, speaking of movie stars, I like Denzel Washington, but I don't feel like I need to rush out for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah? Don't you feel like we really need the Denzel-Liam Neeson team up?
We do.
How
Black
has
Thunder
that
and White
been...
Lightning. That's what I want it to be called. And I want it to, be a cop thing, and I don't know, Navy SEALs.
I want it to involve time travel. I'm just going to throw that.
It has to.
I refuse to believe that concept has not been pitched. Not the cop time travel thing, but
that pairing.
The pairing.
Yeah. I bet every cool pairing we've ever wanted to see has been pitched, but it's just those damn guardians at the gate, preventing the movies we want to see from being made.
I guess, but to me, it's like, that Denzel Washington movies are gonna make X amount, and his box office for especially for like action type movies is pretty consistent.
Sure.
Liam Neeson, same thing.
Yep.
So you have two very consistent draws. Put them together, you'd think common sense says this can only benefit us.
Well, we should go over to the Paramount lot tomorrow with a big easel and like a sketch pad, and we should just write Denzel times Liam Neeson equals $.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, welcome to Hollywood, kids.
They'd hand us a bag of money with like a $sign on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be down with it. I actually, it seems like a no-brainer to me,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened. Now, speaking of no-brainer pairings, we've got Seth Rogen and James Franco's new film.
Yes.
The Interview. Let's go ahead and play the audio of this.
You are entering into the most dangerous country on Earth. Kim Jong-un's people believe anything he tells them, including that he can speak to dolphins or he doesn't urinate and defecate.
Oh. You telling me my man doesn't pee or poo?
Everybody pees and poos. Where would he go otherwise? He'd explode.
But he does talk to dolphins. You want to go kill Kim Jong-un?
Totally. I'd love to assassinate Kim Jong-un. It's a date.
Okay, so did this make you laugh?
You know what? It didn't necessarily make me laugh, but I'm very interested in it. Let's put it that way.
Describe the premise of the movie.
So, okay, this is a story about Seth Rogen and James Franco playing journalists, and they're on what it seems to be a covert mission to assassinate Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea. So, I'm sure most people know this. The Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un being the leaders of North Korea, these are people that completely have brainwashed their entire nation and make them think that they've invented everything. They can talk to dolphins. They don't poop, and they're pretty much deities over there, like literally in real life. This is actually happening. And this movie's like, well, what if Seth Rogen and James Franco tried to assassinate that guy? So, wow. Yeah. So for me, I was like, it just seems like a really bonkers idea, and almost like, could this movie start a war? I don't know, but I'm curious to see how it plays out. Definitely.
I think just the pairing of those two makes me say, all right, I'll check it out, I suppose.
I like those guys, and I think them taking on something that crazy, those guys have proven they know how to take a crazy story and make it very entertaining. So, yeah.
I'm more interested, I think, after seeing this trailer than I probably would have been before.
Yeah.
Now, before we cross over and do our spoiler wall, is there any Star Wars news this week?
There is. It turns out that Han Solo he's getting old. He's getting older, and what tends to happen is a little more prone to injury, and Han Solo injured his ankle this week. And
or the actor playing Han Solo.
Excuse me?
Or the actor playing Han Solo. Han Solo is a fictional character.
I don't follow. No, Harrison Ford hurt his ankle on set. Apparently, like a door on the Millennium Falcon, which sounds almost too perfect. I imagine it was probably something much more innocuous, like on a downtime, lunch break or something. But what were you going to say?
Well, I'm just like, I have to think somebody got fired for that happening.
That's just how Hollywood works. It doesn't matter if it was like during a take and Harrison Ford tripped over something and fell. It's just like then you turn to the PA and it's like, "You're fired, kid." He's like, "Yeah, I was over there."
Well, I mean, a hydraulic door falling on his foot and breaking his ankle. Somebody had to. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I mean, he needs to have like a plate put in his leg.
Ugh.
I mean, he's 70 years old, right? I mean, this. Yeah. But you have to think somebody had oversight over that.
That's a good point. I didn't know that. I knew in my imagination, because I only knew it involved a door and him.
Greedo shot him, and
yeah. No, I just imagined it was just one of those stupid things where you just sort of twist your ankle or hit it somewhere where you're not supposed to. But I didn't realize it was a malfunction that did it.
So I mean, a hydraulic door basically just landed on his foot.
Ugh.
Yeah, and he's out to get airlifted out.
He's out for 8 weeks.
Yeah. So what does this mean to the production?
It's interesting because Temple of Doom has been in the news a lot lately, just because that's 30 years old now. And
yeah,
a big thing about the making of Temple of Doom was that Harrison Ford hurt his back pretty severely during the making of that film, and a lot of that movie is not Harrison Ford. That's his double.
Really?
Like entire action sequences. I mean,
yeah, I can tell because there's the occasional shot where Indy is black.
Yeah, it's like Spaceballs. You thought they're stunt doubles, but then they shot around him not being there for quite a while, and then got all the inserts of his face going like, huh, and then cut it all in, and voila, magic.
Wow. Oh, yeah, so they'll probably CGI that action. Also, in other news, speaking of people coming back to Star Wars, Billy D. Williams, very very exciting, is coming back not to Star Wars Episode VII, but to Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. Where he will presumably be voicing Lando, and I just picture Billy D. kind of sitting by his phone.
Yeah.
And it rings, and they're like, "Billy, we got some work for you." He's like, "I'm on my way to Pinewood." It's like, hold on.
Yeah. I'm not laughing at him. That sucks. I want to see Lando.
I picture him like he's like sitting on the sofa, and he has like that zipper bag that you put suits in. And it's like his blue Lando costume from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And it's like folded up and ready, and he's just like sitting on the couch, like kind of hunched over, ready to get the phone as soon as it rings. He's like, "Really? You got work for me? All right, got my tickets to London." And they're like, No. Don't get excited.
Yeah.
We can record you from home.
Yeah. No need to leave.
I feel bad for Billy D. Williams because he was on Dancing with the Stars this past season.
I didn't even know.
I don't watch that show, but I saw video clips of it, and he was like he had a Star Wars dance where he was dressed like Lando, and I mean he's an old dude, right? He's probably in his mid-70s, and so it's like watching this poor arthritic old man trying to shuffle, and you're like, oh man, Lando, like
he could have been Harvey Dent. Well, he was Harvey Dent, but he could have been Two-Face.
Well, he got like a mad payout for not being Two-Face.
Yeah. Why wasn't he ever brought back for that? I mean, obviously
racism
for the third one, but racism. Yeah.
No, so he when he signed on to do the first Batman, he had a pay or play contract that said he would get to play Two-Face. And essentially once Tim Burton left and Joel Schumacher came on, Joel Schumacher for whatever reason wanted somebody else to be Harvey Dent.
Sure. Tommy Lee Jones. Which makes sense.
He was hot at the time, but for all my love for Tommy Lee Jones as an actor, Two-Face was not one of his,
Oh no. Yeah.
I mean, that entire movie is unfortunate. But so in order to get Tommy Lee Jones, they actually had to buy out Billy D. Williams' contract. So, honestly, if I was paid money to not be in Batman Forever, I would be perfectly okay with that. So that's.
But can you see Billy D. Williams doing that take on Two-Face? That Tommy Lee Jones did. He's way too chill.
I mean, he would have been so much better.
Yeah.
As Harvey Dent, certainly, because Harvey Dent needs to be kind of dashing and handsome and debonair, and Tommy Lee Jones is none of those things.
Right.
I mean, I like Tommy Lee Jones, right? But I mean, Harvey Dent has to be sort of classically handsome,
Yeah.
It would have been interesting if it was half Tommy Lee Jones, half Billy D. Williams. The acid turns him into Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, but instead it was like a Lisa Frank binder blew up on Tommy Lee Jones's face. And he's just like, ah! He's all
the
pink.
acid made him like purple and green.
Yeah.
He no, it wasn't even. It was. Remember My Pet Monster?
Yes.
That's what he looked like. Half My Pet Monster.
He did.
Yeah. And do you remember he had a girlfriend for each side? He had Drew Barrymore and Debbie Mazar.
Like a light in the dark kind of thing.
What was happening in that movie?
Man, who knows? Drew Barrymore, man, she was in like a non-speaking role as Arm Candy. What the?
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
And she, I mean, it's not like she was an unknown at the time. She was.
Yeah, she's Drew Barrymore. Yeah.
Well, she didn't have a non-speaking role, but it was an unessential role.
Yeah. I mean, you could have hired, wasn't Elle Macpherson in that movie?
No, Elle Macpherson was in the fourth one.
Okay. I mean, that's a role for like the girl who's on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
Right. That was odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really all you need to say about Batman Forever is that's the movie where Jim Carrey blows up the Batcave and then says joygasm.
Yeah.
Joygasm. Yeah. That's a thing. That's a word that exists now thanks to that movie. So.
Nice job, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, good.
Well, I was saying
Well,
we
are we
also
gonna say the same
we we get the same. We get the scene where Robin proves his training prowess by how he dries his laundry.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Do you remember that? Sir, would you like me to do your wash? And he's like, no, I got it. And he's like doing nunchucks.
Yeah.
And we go from that scene to, like 10 minutes later, now I'm Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
whatever. Anyway,
Anyway,
well, I was going to say, we weren't planning on this, but did you see the trailer for Dumb and Dumber 2?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I did see it, and I want your opinion first before I offer mine.
Man, I'm so nervous.
Okay.
Because I'll say for the first half of it, I was laughing pretty hard. Like the whole, Jim Carrey pretending he's catatonic at the beginning with the beard. And, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Dumb and Dumber, right? Because, I mean, the first one has become, to our generation, a modern classic that we can quote and reference and whatever. And it's really dumb. It is dumb. And there's, like, diarrhea jokes in it and whatever. But, so, it's like you kind of have to remember that. But I will say, as the trailer went on, it started to feel less and less.
It made me sad by the end, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, it started to feel a little bit like an imitation of the first, which is even sadder because it's the real people in it. But the whole ending with the woman and Jim Carrey's down below on this old woman, and then he's got dust all over his hand. I was like, that does feel like Farrelly Brothers, but it feels like the Farrelly Brothers movies I didn't like.
I'm just like, I worry that they're just too old to be doing this.
They do look older, and HD is not going to do them any favors.
Right. I almost, weirdly, I almost feel like Jeff Daniels comes off better than Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Which is funny because, he's just in the newsroom, and it's like, right, yeah, Jeff Daniels, integrity, yeah, I got it. And then just to see him, it's really funny. I kind of am impressed that he would do something like this because he's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, it feels more like a desperation play on Jim Carrey's part.
Mm.
Whereas for Jeff Daniels, it's like, well, he's got other stuff, and this is just a lark for him.
Yeah, he doesn't need it.
Yeah, and maybe that's wrong, but I don't like seeing Lloyd Christmas be an old guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's just, and at one point, do we just say you're too old to be such a friggin' moron?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's my concern. Now that being said, this is actually the first sequel Jim Carrey has done since Ace Ventura 2. Which was like the mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
So you have to give him some credit for, I guess, integrity?
Yeah, well, and I would argue off the top of my head that Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber are probably his best characters.
Well, who else does he have?
Well, I don't mean that as specific as that, so I suppose. Let's just say his best movies. He has other ones, like Me, Myself, and Irene, which is fun, but it's...
Yeah.
You don't watch that one as much, but Ace Ventura is like Ace Ventura, and Dumb and Dumber is like Dumb and Dumber. Like those feel like his sort of.
Well, Ace
Ventura, call iconic, but those are his.
Ace Ventura launched his movie career.
Yeah.
Right. Before that, basically In Living Color is what he was known for, right?
Yeah. But maybe I'm insane, but Ace Ventura still makes me laugh.
Honestly, I saw that movie exactly one time.
Oh, really?
Back when it first came out, yeah. So I have like little to no memory. I've never seen the sequel. I've never seen When Nature Calls.
Yeah, that's not the same, but it's still it's stupid, but it's funny.
When you think about it, Jim Carrey had a pretty good run up until I don't know, maybe Cable Guy, where that one didn't do so well. But
yeah.
He had Ace Ventura. And this was all in the span of 2 years. Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, Batman Forever.
Yeah.
He became a star pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was like a $20 million guy really fast.
Well, I think for cable guy, he might have been the guy to break the $20 million barrier.
Yeah.
Which seems so quaint now, considering some of the payouts that these actors get. Yeah. Now, that's actually a good place to transition to this week's spoiler wall portion.
Boom.
So this week we're going to be talking about Edge of Tomorrow, which I had a non-spoiler discussion with you about last time.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you've seen it, we can sort of get into it, and then we'll also talk about 22 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm. And
we'll also talk about a movie I saw, which I loved, which is How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Oh, okay.
How to Train a Dragon, excuse me. I sound like an idiot. Which it sounds like something your uncle, like, oh, do you want to go see How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah, my dad actually does stuff like that.
See, yeah, exactly. So, but we are the MovieFilm Podcast, so we have to.
So we have to.
Yeah, we have to. Exactly that. What you just did. All right, so we have now crossed the spoiler wall.
No, I will give my non-spoiler. Well, do you want to talk about 22 Jump Street first? Because there's really nothing to spoil in that.
I found it funny. I liked the first one. I liked this one as well.
That's it?
Yes.
For 22 Jump Street?
Well,
not spoiler. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Same. I enjoyed the first one a lot. I think it was a pleasant surprise because it was a movie, or at least a concept that I don't think a lot of people were excited about. Everyone thought that was kind of a dumb idea to try to not only reboot 21 Jump Street, because anytime something's rebooted, everyone immediately hates it. But then also, like, okay, you're going to have Jonah Hill in 21 Jump Street. This Johnny Depp teeny bopper sort of thing. It just made no sense.
Right.
And then come to find out, it's really, really hilarious, and it became a really big hit. And I think that's what really solidified Channing Tatum as someone who became accessible to everybody, and not just girls who like stepped up films, you know. And so yeah, 22 Jump Street for me, we always talk about this. Comedy sequels don't work typically because the comedy is in the discovery, it's in the surprises, it's in the things that we're learning about in the first movie. So when you come back and revisit it all, it's like we already know what these characters are like. We already know. But this movie does a really good job of, it's very aware of that. And so it's just like, yeah, we know that's what you think. And we're going to like talk about that anyway and have some fun. So just shut up and enjoy yourself. That's basically what this movie feels like. Yeah. And I did. I really enjoyed it. I had just a great time with it. So
now, yeah, I mean, it's almost like irrelevant to get into like the nitty gritty, because you can really only talk about this movie in broad strokes.
Yeah.
But probably the biggest laugh I had was after during the course of the movie, Schmidt, played by Jonah Hill, hooks up with this co-ed.
Oh my gosh!
And then he finds out who her dad is.
Wait! This is we are going to spoilers now. Just for
this is a spoiler. So we will reveal a plot point that you may not want to have spoiled. So bear that in mind.
Yes.
So during the course of the movie, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, right? Schmidt and Jenko, they're touching base with their captain, who's played by Ice Cube, and Schmidt is very proud of himself because he slept with a co-ed the night before, and he slaps five with the captain, and it turns out that the girl that he slept with is the captain's daughter.
And it's funny because you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds like something I've heard before. But this is executed so well. Like I laughed really hard.
I love the texts that he gets.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna kill you, Doug. How's it going, Doug?
And then how long it takes for Channing Tatum to figure it out.
Right. And then when he gets it finally,
yeah, and it's like they're sitting in the office, and he's still got this blank look on his face, Tatum. And then all of a sudden, this like kitchen timer ding goes off, and he's like, "What?" Dude, it was really funny to see Ice Cube more involved and doing his thing. Yeah, and there's a great, straight out of Compton joke, and
oh my gosh.
It was fun, and that's what this movie. It was so interesting. This movie is extremely meta, You know what I mean? Like the first, the thing is 21 Jump Street is 21. They were at 21 Jump Street, that address, because that was an abandoned church in the first film. But then those people, the congregants, have reclaimed the church, so now they have to go across the street to 22 Jump Street.
Right.
And they're like, well, what if something happens to this building? And then you see in the background there's a 23 Jump Street like waiting for them for the third, the next sequel.
23 Jump Street, like condos or something,
Yeah. So I mean, and then the captain is even talking to them about their next mission, but he's speaking about the movie. Basically, it's like no one thought it was a good idea when we did the program.
He's like, when we rebooted the Jump Street program, nobody thought it would do any good, or
but it turns out it was,
So they've given us double the money to. And that's of course what's his name? Ron Swanson, Nick Offerman. I mean it's here's what I'll say though. I think that this is my take on this. I think that they've taken this concept as far as it's going to go.
Yes. I think, well, here's what I think about that. It's almost like Lethal Weapon or any good buddy cop movie where it's like, as long as we still enjoy seeing these two people together, you don't have to worry about the concept so much. Like this movie, because it's written by clever people and starring clever people, they felt they needed to address that, and it was very funny. The concept that sequels can be tired. But now it's like, okay, we've done that. I wouldn't mind watching Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum just in new scenes, on a new adventure and new set pieces. So I'm totally cool if they make another one, and
see, I wonder if, I mean, you stuck around through the credits, right? With that whole, I wonder if that was almost like the filmmakers effectively saying, we're not doing another one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Which if you haven't seen it, what are you doing behind the spoiler wall?
Oh yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but what happens during the credits is then they get assigned to 23 Jump Street. Ice Cube is like, your next mission, you're going to medical school.
Right.
And then it shows them there, but then it's like 24 Jump Street, and then this mock movie poster comes up for some other, I don't even remember them anymore. It was like clergy. It was like, whatever you call that, where priests go, seminary, and so it's like all these different types of school, and it's like 25 Jump Street, 26 Jump Street, and the whole, like almost all the credits is just them in new adventures.
Yeah. Jump Street Generations with Richard Grieco. That was my favorite.
Yeah, and then there's one where Jonah Hill supposedly had a contract dispute with the filmmakers, so he's replaced by Seth Rogen.
Right.
And then it shows the sequel after that, and Jonah Hill's back, and they're like, "So we're all good now?" He's like, "Yeah, we're all good. Happy to be back."
What's funny is that in the Seth Rogen one, they show like the action scene, and Seth Rogen is like, "Come on, Jenkins," and he's like, "Jenko," like.
Right. Oh, this is the movie you're watching. Like, this is a movie for people if you just want to sit back, and people who don't care about the meta stuff, they just want to enjoy a fun movie, they can. But for people who do enjoy critiquing movies and thinking about them on like different planes, this is the movie where they're following a guy with a tattoo on his arm, right? And it's supposed to be like a bazooka. And so then they're like, they think it's this guy the whole time because he has a tattoo on their arm that has yet to be seen. And then finally the guy takes his shirt off, and they're like, what is that tattoo of? And it's not a bazooka, it's of a fish. And he's like, oh yeah, this is the high school I went to. We were the Red Herrings. And I was like, are you kidding me? Oh, it killed me. Just killed me. So funny.
Well, and the guy who Channing Tatum becomes friends with.
Yeah.
First of all, he's like a clone of Luke Wilson, or Owen Wilson.
I didn't even think of that. You're right.
But he's Kurt Russell's son.
Yeah, which when you know that, you totally see it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a fresh, clever movie. I really like. I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
And it's done very well because it cost something like $60 million, and it's already made $57 million over its opening weekend. So this thing is an unqualified dragon. It did, yeah, and I'm not gonna say that's unfortunate because How to Train Your Dragon did pretty well, but I do want to mention that movie because I have not seen the first How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh.
How to Train a Dragon, excuse me.
Which is good. which is a good movie.
The
And
movie.
I'm not a big DreamWorks guy. I typically don't tend to feel much towards the DreamWorks movies. But
I'm
how do you
not a fan of. Yeah, I mean, I identify DreamWorks as Shrek.
Yeah. Like, there's going to be a Smash Mouth song or Smash Mouth-esque song somewhere.
Right.
Like a reference to a movie that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just immediately dated, and I'm just not a fan of that stuff. So yeah, as a general rule, DreamWorks doesn't do it for me. And DreamWorks also does Madagascar, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of those either. So I mean, and I haven't avoided How to Train a Dragon. I just, even Sean had recommended it to me. I just never got around to it. And then the sequel came out, and I was like, well, I'll just take my boys. I haven't seen the first one, but I mean, how hard can it be to catch up? And the truth is, it's not hard to catch up. It wasn't hard at all.
Sure.
But fantastic movie, man.
It's what I've heard. I heard someone actually call it The Empire Strikes Back of what will be that series.
I mean, it has a degree of darkness that surprised me.
Yeah.
I will say that it goes to a dark place, and I took my two older kids, so they're 7 and 5, so I feel like they're kind of in the wheelhouse, for this, and I appreciated the fact that it takes well, I mean we're in the spoiler wall now, but you probably don't want me to spoil it for you, right?
That's fine.
One of the main characters is Stoic, who is the father of Hiccup.
Okay.
The main character. So one of the key plot points is that he's killed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting because what ends up happening is you have there's a battle between the people who train and live with the dragons, and then the people who are enslaving the dragons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the main dragon, who's toothless, who belongs to our main character, he gets momentarily brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's about to attack Hiccup, who's voiced by Jay Baruchel, and Stoic jumps in front of him, and he gets burned, basically, and that's how he dies. So in other words, you have this character who the kids love, toothless, kill this other character who the kids love.
Right.
Stoic. And it's so that's obviously very tragic, and the way it does that's very, very well done. But then immediately after that, he gets the Viking funeral, sort of the traditional Viking funeral. It's an emotional thing, and it reminded me of Thor: The Dark World. How you and Sean had a very viscerally negative reaction to a very similar scene in that film, if you remember.
I do.
Where you're like, what the hell is this crap? I felt like it was very effectively done here,
Right.
So and apparently the plan is to make this into a trilogy. So I'm like, oh man, yeah, I'm on board. I want to see this. I want to see what they do.
Go back and watch the first one then. Like do it
now
as a flashback, because it's a really sweet movie.
Okay. What made it sweet to you?
Just the relationship between Hiccup and Toothless. Like there's I don't want to, even though you already know what happens beyond that. I mean, there's things I wouldn't necessarily want to spoil that just endear you to them, and like you said, it doesn't go. I don't imagine it goes as dark as this film, but it goes to some heavier places, and you're like, oh wow, like it makes you appreciate it more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So now let's talk. We're going back in time a little bit, which is appropriate given the movie that we're talking about. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
That's why they pay me the nothing for this. But Edge of Tomorrow,
or AKA, why haven't you seen this movie, America?
Right. You know why America has not seen the movie? Because it's called Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I've heard people say that. Yeah, you think? Really?
I feel very confident that if the title was literally anything else other than Edge of Tomorrow, it would be doing slightly better. Because now of course, we talked about this last time. The original title was All You Need Is Kill.
Which is a little extreme, but it's kind of cool.
It's cool, but there was no way that was going to be the title.
No.
We all knew that. But, again, we said this last time. They had like a list of focus grouped phrases. And they picked the most nondescript, non-offensive, thing they could come up with, and that was Edge of Tomorrow, which says nothing about the film or like it says nothing that you would want to see.
Well, it sounds like the title of a Creed album.
Right.
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah.
It should have been Arms Wide Open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow, and Brian, I just played this clip for you. That was the theme song for Saved by the Bell, the new class, or Saved by the Bell, the college years.
Yeah.
And maybe if they used that song in promoting the movie, it would have done better too.
Might have helped.
But so I talked about my reaction to the movie last time. I avoided spoilers because I didn't want to ruin the experience for you. So now that you have seen it, I want you to tell me. I literally, like, you saw it like 2 weeks ago, right?
Just about.
And we haven't talked about it at all.
Nope.
So fill me in. What was your reaction to this?
I would not have seen this movie based on the trailers. So
Okay.
I'll start there. When we walked out of the movie, my friends and I, we said, typically when a movie doesn't work, they blame marketing. And sometimes I'm like, it's kind of unfair. Not in this movie's case. I think marketing did a very poor job of explaining or portraying what this movie was. The only reason I went to go see this movie was because the reviews were so strong, and I was really like surprised by that. Like, wow, as strong as they were.
Yeah.
So went into it, and sure enough, this is the summer blockbuster you want. You know, when you go see a movie and everyone complains it's the same thing, it's a sequel, it's based on a thing, an old TV show. It's like, I just want to see something cool and original and new and fun and action-packed and not like a CG garbled mess, but still a great action. That's Edge of Tomorrow. Like, I really enjoyed this movie. It's not without its flaws and its problems and whatnot, but I mean, what movie is? This is the summer popcorn flick that people are asking for. It's just a shame that nobody is checking it out. Like, they're missing out.
Yeah.
This is a movie people are going to discover down the line and be like, oh, this would have been cool on a big screen.
Right.
And it comes from Doug Liman, who made the first Bourne film. Well, Swingers was his first movie, and then Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and kind of does these spy films and whatnot. So to see him do this whole other world building sort of movie where you're in the future and you've got this war going on, there are these aliens, and we start the movie with Tom Cruise playing a role that is sort of not Tom Cruise-esque, where he's actually kind of a coward. Like,
Right.
Normally Tom Cruise plays the guy who's the best at whatever he is.
The best at everything.
Yeah. And so this movie starts out where they want to put him on the front lines, and he is doing everything he can to avoid that because he is successfully avoided it for many years.
Right.
And it actually felt weird to me. I was like, oh, it's odd to see this guy I'm supposed to like, who is a coward, and these other people are going to go out and die, and he's willing to do anything to dodge it.
Right.
So anyway, he goes out there, goes in the front lines, has no idea what's going on. People won't even tell him how his mech suit and the weapons work.
And we should mention here that he kind of screws himself up, right? Because if he was going to retain his rank, he was going to be embedded with a unit,
right?
But because he just acts all shitty.
Yeah. He tries to blackmail a guy.
Yeah, he gets arrested.
Yeah.
And stripped of his rank, and basically, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like you realize in hindsight, like, oh, if he had just shut his mouth and just done it,
right?
He would have probably not given everything that ends up happening, but just if
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But so then he goes out there, and then he obviously has no idea what he's doing, and it's this crazy, chaotic, really cool looking battle. Frankly, I mean, we complain so much about when movies are just nothing but computer imagery, and it feels like it. I mean, this movie does a really good job, I think, of balancing all that stuff. And then he dies, and then he wakes up, and it's yesterday, and he starts the whole thing again. I mean, this is Groundhog Day.
Right.
And he keeps reliving this day, and then eventually he meets Emily Blunt, who is a war hero in this world, and she knows what he's going through, and she becomes his guide, and so she helps train him to become a better soldier so that they can eventually figure out how to use this to their advantage and take out their enemy. And I just thought, you can step into a lot of problems when you're doing a Groundhog Day-esque plot because you have to set up a bunch of markers so you know that the day is repeating. You have to set up monologues people say so you can hear it again so you know that it's next day. And then that can get a little tedious, And just the second time that Tom Cruise lived his day, I started to wonder, like, oh, I don't know if I want to go through this whole day again.
Yeah.
But where this movie really succeeds is it knows exactly what to repeat and exactly when to move on.
Right.
And not only that, but sometimes it'll show you something and you don't know if this is the first time he's done it or the 100th time he's done it.
Right.
Like there are reveals where it's like you think it's the first time, but he's actually done this probably 30 times.
Well, I
And
thought
it's very clever.
one moment, just like a little, like one of it, and the idea is that every time he dies, he comes back, he resets,
Goes right back to the same moment.
so it's in effect it's a video game, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, it's very similar to a video game in the sense that, you know, you go through a video game and you do it enough times, you learn the moves. You know, okay, I got to go this many paces here, and you know, but this is like very early on when he's trying to get away from doing the calisthenics. I think you know what I'm talking about. They're all doing push-ups. He rolls out of the way, and his goal is to like roll under a truck.
Yeah.
And he ends up just getting run over by the truck.
And then he rolls under the truck, and then it cuts to the day before and him waking up. It's played for a huge laugh.
Yeah, well, and it's like
he didn't make
Bill,
it.
Bill Paxton, who's the you know the drill sergeant's like, why the hell would he do that?
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, they don't play up how funny this movie is. Like, there's some good laughs in this movie, and Emily Blunt, who I've always liked.
Yeah.
But she's always been sort of a side character, and in this, I mean, I'd say she's pretty equal. You know, it's Tom Cruise.
she's got a substantial part. Absolutely.
Yeah, and a good character. You know, I mean, there are things about her character I didn't even think about until after I left the theater. I mean, so she's not just some hot chick who shoots things. I mean, she's interesting, and it's
now there's you know, it's out there in the ether that there were some reshoots or not reshoots, but script changes made to sort of accommodate, you know, Tom Cruise being involved and whatnot, and it feels like the ending definitely was the receptacle of a lot of those changes.
I can see that. I mean,
now I like the ending. Just to be clear, I think the ending is very solid, but it does feel a little bit like an afterthought.
An afterthought, or everything tied up with a bow, whether or not it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your take on that because it felt. I'll tell you, there's a part earlier in the movie when just before Emily Blunt dies in one of the lives, she mentions her middle name to Tom Cruise, and it feels in the context that it's delivered that this is a, you know, this is a, you know, a grenade. It's something that's going to come into play, and it never does.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought about at the end of the movie.
Well, you know, it makes me wonder. I mean, do we want to we're being sort of obscure. I mean,
I don't think we need to. Yeah, I think
okay. So basically, for those of you who have enjoyed this film, Tom Cruise kills the bad guy, and he comes into contact with the alien blood, which gives him his power, which he's lost, the ability to control time, and he is given that power again.
Right.
But the thing is he goes back further than we've ever seen in the movie to basically the beginning of the movie.
He goes back to the beginning of the movie, right?
The very beginning of the movie, and the war is over.
So how does that work?
I don't know. I mean, because he's basically taking the success from the future and bringing it back into the past, which doesn't. I'm sure the guy who wrote it could explain it to me somehow, but it's not made clear in the film. But anyway, so then he goes to see Emily Blunt and meet her the way he does every day for the first time, where she has no idea who he is. And she gives him the, you know, what the hell are you looking at kind of look that she's always given him, and he just has this knowing smile. And then it cuts to black. So you're sort of, you don't know what's going to happen. You're led, I would assume that he's going to explain things to her because he's got affection for her now after all this. He's gone
after
through
everything we've been through, and she'll know. I mean, the idea is it's like a pregnant ending.
Yeah, and
not
you would
literally
assume that he would probably use her middle name to get her to understand.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
To each other. So it very well could have been a scene that they shot, but you know,
I
a lot
think where they ended is perfect.
It is perfect, and I think, again, I mean, this happens all the time in movies where you're like, oh, that's the perfect ending, and people, you know, you hear the filmmaker say like, oh yeah, but it went on for like 5 more minutes, but we realized it was more effective if we just cut at the beginning. It's all you needed. And I would be willing to bet that they did shoot something where he uses the name, but they're like, we don't need it. Like this, It's all we need. We just get this smile, and I liked it. I thought, logic aside, I thought it was a satisfying.
Yeah, I think if you try imbuing logic to it, your brain's going to start itching pretty badly.
Yeah,
because I mean it's like Days of Future Past,
right?
Where you spend too much time thinking about time travel, it does something to you. I think.
Yeah, I was just on a walk with some friends of mine from work today at lunch, and we were talking about logic from Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
and then we were like, so like Wolverine. In the ending that we see, which is slightly in the future, he was that timeline's Wolverine until that moment where his past consciousness essentially took over and he became the Wolverine that we know. So it's almost like it eliminated whatever consciousness he had in that happy-go-lucky timeline. And now he knows the things that he knows from what we know. Like, when did he cease being the Wolverine in that time? Like, did he just become a whole different Wolverine? Did that Wolverine's experiences and everything just eventually get erased by this consciousness that snapped into him?
Well, yes, essentially, based on what the information we have in the film, right? Presumably, if we were to sort of extrapolate, you would say that eventually his two sets of memories would merge, and the sort of the apocryphal stuff would just fade away.
Right.
But per the film, yeah, essentially, he from 1973 until 2023, those 50 years of memories lead up to him going back in time, changing the past, and then coming back, right? So in other words, it's as if future Wolverine went back in time and came back.
Right.
Your brain hurting yet?
No. So his consciousness is merged.
That seems like it would be the case. Yeah.
I'll go with that. That's fine.
I mean, it's because speaking of X-Men, they've announced that the third one of this new trilogy is going to be set in 1983.
Yeah.
Right. So that leaves them room to bring Wolverine into it.
Right.
To presume, and they could do the first meeting with Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I would argue that we won't know the full ramifications of the ending of Days of Future Past until we see X-Men Apocalypse.
Right.
Although, of course, I doubt we'll go back to that future time. But yeah, it's the ending of Days of Future Past. The future part of ending of Days of Future Past is almost like they threw logic to one side just to allow for, we talked about last time, kind of giving a goodbye to that original crew.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I for one, I don't really get caught up in these logic things. I don't really.
Yeah, again, I've mentioned before. There's this website where this guy goes through and actually lays out all the temporal paradoxes of time travel movies, and it's fascinating, frightening reading.
Right.
Because you're like, man, somebody put an inordinate amount of thought into this whole shebang here,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think insofar as the end of Edge of Tomorrow is concerned, we end up back to where the movie started, and yet the things that Cruise did in the future, which he now will not do, because the situation that led up to him doing those things has resulted in somehow things happening before he did them in that other timeline. Right?
Yeah. Well, and you could make an argument that the way he's able to go back in time is through he got blood from an alpha, or not an alpha, what are they called? Omega alien. So there's almost like three tiers of aliens in this movie. There's the stormtrooper sort of warrior aliens, and then there's these Omega aliens, which are a little bigger and more powerful. So getting that alien's blood on him was able to shoot him back like 24 hours or something like that.
Right.
Or whatever, about 24 hours. But then at the end, he kills the Alpha, which is this huge, almost like Sarlacc pit looking thing.
Right.
The Omega. Sorry. And so that is what's able to shoot him back several days.
Right.
So you could sort of be like, well, all right. I mean, maybe this thing's more powerful and it, you know what I mean? Like you can keep the consequences of the future, but it just shoots him into the past.
Right.
Yeah, who knows? Whatever. It's this isn't essential to whether or not this movie's any good.
The point is, it's a really clever, different film. That again, I mean, the fact that it's been for the most part ignored, despite very solid reviews, is worrisome only to the extent that, you know, like you were saying, Brian, people do complain all the time. Oh my gosh, another remake. Oh my gosh, another sequel.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that, while not staggeringly original, is at least an attempt to do something that's non-franchisey, and it got slapped down for making that effort.
Yeah, and it's, I think anyone could enjoy this movie.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this is what everyone's asking for. I just need to go out and find it.
So go see it, especially now that we've ruined it all for you.
Yeah, yeah. No, highly recommended.
So on that note, I think we can wrap up this conversation.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Edge of Tomorrow or any of the films we've talked about?
No, I just, you know, this has been a very weird summer where I'm usually very aware of what's up next.
Right.
And this summer I don't even know. Like this, you know what I mean? It just feels like all the movies that I read about or I'm excited about are coming out next year.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of taking this summer as it comes, you know?
Yeah, it's you know, it feels as many big releases this year.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Now, speaking of big releases, in our next episode, you'll definitely have to tune in because Brian and I will be talking about Transformers 4.
Transformers!
The subtitle, I think, is The Sleepening of the Sleep. because Transformers 2 and 3 have both been nap time for Zaki.
Oh, man. 3, you know, I didn't mind 3 so much. 2, we've talked about this.
2 was torturous. 3, I've said this before, it was so noisome that it lulled me to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I mean, you and I are both from Chicago, and so the last hour of that movie is a big...
It's just Chicago being...
The destruction of Chicago. So it was kind of fun, because I was like, oh, I know where that is. Oh, I know where that is. I think that's why.
Yeah, and our friend Kevin is in one of those Chicago scenes, I believe.
Yeah, and he should be somewhere in 4 here. So
he's in the 4th one. So we'll watch it,
and we will tell you who he is because you should.
That's right. Once we find out, yeah. So you can look forward to a spoiler-filled conversation about Transformers: Age of Extinction in our next episode in just 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian, where can people find you online?
At Tinder. It's this site. If you ever want to hook up with me, you can find me on Tinder. No, I'm just kidding. I'm on everythingbrian.blogspot.com, and my Twitter handle, just so I can beat Zaki to pointing out the fact that I don't ever use my Twitter handle, is at everythingbrian. Everything
should be more aptly called Nothing Brian.
yeah.
At this point. Now, and by the way, Brian has one tweet. The running tally is still one tweet, but he does have 14 followers who are sitting in rapt anticipation to hear him say nothing.
I'm actually very surprised. I'll have to look. I didn't even know there was 14.
Well, I know that I've been trying to get people to follow you, and you know, I'm doing my part as a good friend.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but you've been throwing my efforts back in my face, mocking me as you go. So let's see. Yeah, you've got quite a few followers, my friend.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll check it out after this.
You have
I'll
7
put up my
followers,
second tweet.
You
Hey,
have
guys.
7 followers, not 14. Sorry.
Oh well, forget it.
That's less impressive. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm surprised I have any.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to tweet more, man.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, in addition to Brian, you can also find me online. I'm at ZakisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. And at Twitter, at Zakis Corner. And at the Huffington Post, where my movie reviews go up every week or close to it. And you can also find us at facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast and also at moviefilmpodcast.com. So lots of different ways to find us. We're also up on Stitcher Radio and iTunes. Please do write us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Leave us a star rating. And if you have any questions or comments, send them to moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. We've actually gotten a few emails, and I've been remiss in not reading them. I just have forgotten. So we'll definitely have to bring that feature back.
Yeah.
For next time. But that wraps up another episode of the Movie Film Show. On behalf of my colleague Brian Hall and the absent Sean Coyle, who by now should have defeated the Abominable Snowman, is probably smoking hashish with a Sherpa right now.
Fingers crossed.
Hoping. My name is Zaki Hassan, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening.
Welcome